Well, good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Francisca Baer. I'm the Associate Dean for the Office of Academic Equity and a proud finance professor. I'd been in CSUSB for a very long time, and I remember when I started my career, I always felt that I have to work harder and harder and harder. I have an engineering degree, a certificate in computer science, and a PhD in finance. I published more than 50 articles and have more than 800 citations, and still, I always felt I have to work harder and harder. I participate in several grants, including some multi-million-dollar grant. But over the years, I realized that what's the most important thing is to feel that you belong. And with that in mind, I created this ShEconomy event, and this is the eighth, can you believe it? 8th ShEconomy. So, okay, thank you. I hope that over the years you will agree with me that this is the perfect space for us to just uplift each other and make sure that we can have allies that also feel that, yes, we have to help promoting and supporting each other, and now, of course, women. Before I start talking about the economy, I just told you I'm a finance person, so I'm a financial economist. But before talking about the economy, I wanted to take a very short amount of time to, number one, thanks our sponsor. So thank you, SoCalGas. Thank you, Viewpoint Advocacy. Thank you, the Alliance of Black Women in Accounting and Finance. Perfect fit for us because the goal of ABWA is to uplift and empower women in accounting and finance. And now we're doing not only accounting and finance, but everybody. I also want to take a minute, see a woman in my head, a minute to say thank you to the previous panelists. We cannot have this type of event without having you around. So thank you very much to Erin Brinker. Thank you for, I'm going to do that and then we just clap. I mean, the program is packed, so let's do that. To Evelia Carmona, to Shirley Coate, to Christine Glass, to Cherie Gillings, Maritza Gomez, Desiree Henderson, Manal Iskander, Jimenez, Rachel, Justina Lons, Margot Mernick, Marjorie McPie, Rachel Jimenez, Jackie Scott, Karen Suarez, and Magdalena Zepeta Selek. So thank you. Now the sponsors, and we are very, very grateful about that, allow us to offer some scholarship. So the ShEconomy scholarship are open today. You can find all the information on the JHBC Office of Academic Equity website. Under ShEconomy, I put the link over there, the QR code. If you want, you can take a picture. And I'm going to show you the same information several times just in case you decide to apply. Everybody is welcome to apply. And since we have more money, well, we're going to redistribute more money. Isn't that wonderful? That's the beauty of being in education. All right. So I want to get started because my time is quite limited here. So what's an economy? Well, an economy is not a bunch of people that just want to make as much money as possible. It's not the government. It's not the central bank. An economy is a group of organizations, whether they are in education, in retail, in healthcare, in technology, you name it, a bunch of organizations that have the goal of producing goods and services. And of course, we, all of us, consume goods and services. Now, the beauty is when we produce more goods and services, the economy grows, and we grasp the size of the economy by talking about the GDP, the gross domestic product. When the economy grows, there is more jobs created. There is less unemployment. There is more well-being, more work, more income. So having a healthy economy is extremely important. So right now, I check, and the size of the US economy, it's about $29 trillion in 2024. The economy is still growing. I mean, between 22, 23, and 23, 24, the economy has grown by about 2.8% per year. Now, for economists, this is a good number. We don't want the economy to just double or triple because we cannot manage it. So 2.8% is a good number. Among the 29 trillion, about 9 to 10 trillions are produced by women. 1/3, right? About. I'm just rounding up numbers here. So what does that mean? Well, it means that women, through their work, their innovation, their entrepreneurship, produce goods and services that account for about 9 to 10 trillions of the size of the economy. And you will find women in any sectors, right? Education, health, and on and on. So if women contribute to grow the economy, and if the economy growing is good for all of us, well, we want to make sure that we help women, right, contributing and continue growing this economy. Now, that's macro level, right, the big picture. I also look at the micro level, the small picture, the size of the company, and I look all over the world. I found the same information for Africa, same information in China, same information for European companies. Each single time, we realize that women's contribution has been growing and growing. Now, I mentioned that it might be good to look at the micro level. So I look at a lot of studies. And one study I wanted to share with you is a study that was published by the S&P 500. It's an excellent study, and I'm talking here about an excellent academic studies. Well, why? First, sample. They sampled the 500 company of the S&P. Number two, time. They follow those companies between 2003 and 2021. So it's a long period of time. And the results is when you have companies that have a large proportion of women that are work on the boards, those companies perform better. Number one, those companies exhibit a sustainable growth rate. Number two, those companies have better profitability. We look at return on investment or whatever we're looking at. Number three, those companies have a better reputation in the market and have a higher, bigger, larger market capitalization. Number four, those companies are less risky. So whether we look at macro or micro, well, we conclude that having women that collaborate at the company is helpful. And we can also conclude that this is true in every country. So then, why do we have a gap? And what do we call the gap? On that slide, I want us to remember, before I introduce the gap, that the gap is one of the biggest untapped sources of global prosperity. So what is this gap? Well, when we talk about the gender gap, what we have in mind is disparities between men and women, disparities in education, health, labor participation, political representation, and income. So again, I continue digging and researching and thinking. Income, maybe, but let's start with education. Yes, there is a gap, but right now we have more women that have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD than men. So I cannot claim that we have a gap, right? Saying that there is more women. There's no gap. Yeah, that's indeed the case. At any level, data will show us that we have more women than men. So if there is a gap, it's certainly not a gap that precludes women from doing well. We are doing well in education. Number two, health. That was a complicated thing because if you look at health, if you look at longevity, women live longer than men. The average right now is about 80 years old, and men is on average 75 years old. I mean, 75 years. So it seems, yes, women live longer. But if you look at chronic disease, now women have more chronic disease than men. So then living longer, question is how? And then if you look at mental health, which is so incredibly important, we will see that there is a larger percentage of women that are stressed, that report being depressed than men. But then on the other hand, we have more men that commit suicide than women. So health is very difficult just for me to conclude anything. We'll continue looking at that variable and say, okay, we'll keep it on the table for next year. Now, if you look at labor participation, the gap has been narrowing very, very, very substantially. At this stage, there is about 10 points between men and women. In the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, you had like 80% of men were part of the workforce versus you had only 20% of women. Versus now, that gap is narrow, about 10 points in between. And we think that this gap is going to continue narrowing. So health, we cannot really conclude anything at this stage. Labor participation, again, we're making progress. There is nothing here that we can end up saying. Political representation is a little bit different. So again, I look at the Senate. I believe there is 100 members. Among the 100 members in the Senate right now, there is 26% of women. So, well, why? I mean, this is about 50% of women in the population, so why 26? Then I look at the House of Representatives, where you have, I think, 430 plus members. It's about 200 women. So again, the percentage is a little bit larger, but we are far, far, far from a 30, 40, 50 proportion between men and women. So we still have a gap in political representation the way we measure it at this stage. The largest gap is in income. If you look at this slide, you see that women make on average 2022, 2023, 82 cents per dollar that men makes. If you look at this graph very, very carefully, you will see that, of course, we're making progress. We started in 1982, it was 65%, and then we jumped to 80%. But then 80 to 82, the improvement is not as large. You see that? All of a sudden, we're still making progress, but the progress is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, if I had add slopes in this graph, you will see that. So women are still making way less than men. And if we disaggregate numbers, now you will see that Black women, Latina women are only at 63, 64 cents per dollar. So yes, we still have a huge gap. Now the question is, why? What explained the gap? And I found several variables, but one I wanted to share with you is the segregation of work. You will find way more women in sectors that in fact make less money than women in sectors that make more money. And that is really the reason why I wanted to invite somebody from STEM today, because it is well known that job in STEM should provide higher income. So we are going to hear the story, and then we're hoping that we are going to learn the skills that we need to develop in order to indeed benefit from higher income and close the gap. So I want to thank you so much for listening to my short presentation, and I will ask Paniz Herrera to come and join me here and be the first one.
Perfect. Is it as a laser?
Yeah, I mean, if you just can go with the next come on, no, it's not just
And I can. Let's stick here. Can I take it up?
oh, you can pick it up.
Thank you for having me. Before we begin, I just want to share a funny story. I'm so excited to be here that this is my second time coming here. We came here last month on the 23rd because Dr. Beer and I had spoken over the phone, and she had said 23rd. In my head, I was like, okay, got it. 23rd, I'm going to show up. Showed up in a blue suit because I had to represent CSUSB, and it was the wrong day. It was supposed to be today. This room was empty. So again, I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you so much. So today we're going to be talking about the future of work, how AI is going to impact women's careers. I think this is a vital topic for what's going on in the world today. A little bit about me. I am an immigrant. I think it's important to mention in the atmosphere that we live in. I came from Iran at the age of 8. Thank you. And for all those individuals that are immigrants, you know that we come bearing the burdens of our parents on our backs, right? We carry them, we carry it with pride, and we do so because we want to make a difference. And I hope to do that today. I hope you walk away with this with some value. I got my BA in Business Administration Management. I also came back because I loved it so much and got my MBA with a focus in cybersecurity. I highly recommend that degree. It doubled my salary. Now I'm pursuing a PhD in Information Systems and Technology with a focus in cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. As you can see, the dissertation is pending. I've finished the coursework. I've done my qual exam. All is well. It's just the dissertation aspect, which is going to be my year, and hopefully I'll be done. I'm a cybersecurity consultant at Deloitte. I've been there for the last 3 years. My focus is within cyber strategy and risk. I love it most days, as everyone else does with their job. I also want to mention that I'm a mama of 2. My husband is here to support me as well, so thank you. Important to add that women can't do this without, men. We need to work together to be able to lead to the progression. Now, how do we end up here? I think it's an important question to discuss. So within the age of Rockefeller, we were very agricultural, and we were going towards an industry workforce. And this is where this all comes from. The way that you do things, how you operate at work, is all because of the statutes that Rockefeller has set for you. He said that I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. And that's where the repetition of our work comes in. And as you can tell, the age of AI is going to be very, very different than what we have right now. We're very operational. We're going to be pivoting toward a strategic mindset and a strategic way of doing work. We used to learn once and then be able to apply it forever. This is no longer the case. We need to learn consistently and constantly so that we can thrive continuously. And this is the question that I get all the time. Is AI going to replace me? No, AI is probably not going to replace you. It might shift you, it might develop you, but those that do use AI will replace you. We've gone from industrial, we saw the digital, and now we're headed into the AI revolution if we're not already there yet. And let me explain. So we're coming from a narrow AI. A narrow AI was good at doing tasks that were very objective, that they could do it on a daily basis, same thing, very routine. Now we're in general AI, just the beginning of general AI. Next, we have artificial superintelligence, and then after that will be artificial narrow superintelligence. This is where the godfather of AI has said that in the next two stages, for the first time in our world, we've created something that is going to be smarter than us. It's important to pause on that. Where we're headed, we need people at the table that will discuss about the safety and the human aspect that's going to be needed for us to not be left behind in this AI revolution. All right, so what does this mean for women? We're going to go through a few graphs. I think the best thing that we can do is, I don't have a global crystal ball that can tell me what's going to happen to women in the future, but I do have data-driven decisions that we can use to help us in the future. You're welcome to take pictures of these graphs. Just make sure that if I am blinking with one eye, which I didn't know was possible, just put a sticker on my face. All right, so AI growth within industries. I thought this was absolutely interesting. As you can see, from 2016 to 2024, these are the industries that have had the largest growth. But what is leading the way? It's technology, information, and media. Next, we have education. We have professional services, financial services, utilities, and on and on. But as a woman, I hope you look at this. I mean, it could be anyone. You don't have to be a woman. We have some men in the audience as well. But if you're looking at this, I hope you look at this and say, strategically, I'm going to put myself in these places so that I'm leading the way to be able to mend that income gap. These are the skills that are on the rise. I often ask, what are the technical skills that I need? But I think where we're headed is going to be a combination of technical and your soft skills that are going to be vital for our future. So let me just mark off a few of them, right? So the first 5 are marked off with the yellow line, and then the first 10 are marked off by the red line. The next slide will also go a little bit into this, but I just want to name off a few. AI and big data. Networks and cybersecurity. I'm not going anywhere, and neither's my job, so please join us. Creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, agility, curiosity and lifelong learning, leadership and social influence, talent management, analytical thinking, and environmental stewardship. The rest are still important, like systems thinking, and it goes on and on about the soft skills that will be needed, but just wanted to highlight the few that are a mix of soft skills and technical skills for our future. Here, you can see it a little bit better. So we have the core skills listed, in which will be vital in 2030. And on this side, we have the emerging skills that will again be vital in the next 10 years. So you can look at both and be able to position yourself with those skills and maybe spice up some of the things that you see on the slide and add it to your resume. Add it to your tool belt of your career so that you can use these for your future. Here are the strategies in response to AI 2025 to 2030. And they had asked 22 different industries. And I want to look at the first one, which has, it's 3/4 of the way there. Reskilling and upskilling existing workforce to better work alongside AI. You can't run away from AI anymore. It will be part of our lives. Therefore, the best thing that we can do is be able to upskill and reskill so that we can meet the demands of our future better. You're probably wondering, well, that this is a lot of information in 8 minutes. I know. and we're going to talk more as panelists as well, but what can you do about this and what can you do tomorrow? My first aspect that has definitely held my career is to be a lifelong learner, to set micro goals for myself and be able to keep those promises. I once heard and have researched now that the confidence is built by the promises that we keep to ourselves. Within technology, there are cybersecurity certifications, there are network security certifications, there is computer certifications, there's a range of certifications that you can get, even within data and AI, that you can add to your resume that will be tools added to your tool belt that are called upskilling and will most definitely benefit you in your next job, in your career. The best way that we can do this, though, is to set micro goals and to achieve those goals. No one can hold you accountable to those goals unless you hold yourself accountable to your own goals. Next is to be an AI-driven leader. Ask better questions. Oftentimes, as someone that uses AI and knows that AI talk, I'm often given paragraphs that are written by AI. I know that's written by AI. We cannot let critical thought be replaced by AI. This is where we're going to lose our humanity. Group projects cannot become about what AI has given me and the information that I'm relying on. We know about hallucinations. We know the language of AI. We can't let that contribute to who we are as individuals and diminish our critical thought. And on the point of asking better questions, I have a slide where it has little post-its of what you can use to ask ChatGPT or any other GPT response that, hey, instead of you telling me what to do, why don't you be my thought partner, right? What are the blind points in my argument? What am I not seeing? Are there questions that you can ask me about this category for my better understanding and perhaps maybe better understanding of the world around us? Is there a segment in industry that I'm not seeing? These are all questions that you can ask that will help your mind grow, but will not diminish your critical thought. This is the point of use AI as your thought partner. This is highly vital for where we're going as a generation. And then lastly, we need to demand inclusion at the table where AI is being built, governed, and funded. The only way this will change is if we sit at tables where we can cause change. If women are not heard because we're too afraid to be sitting at those tables because we think that we don't belong, because imposter syndrome tells us that we can't, then there will be no change. The only way that we can do this is by showing up and sitting at tables that we most definitely belong in. I hope to wrap this up, and I want you to walk away with value based on that the generation to come is going to be dependent on our decisions and our goals for where AI is going to go. Safety is going to be vital. Ethical AI is going to be vital. And as women, we need to sit at tables where we have these discussions, and hopefully our children will be able to mimic those. The only way we can cause change is by leading the way for others. Thank you. You want to hold it or do you want me to put it down?
Give me.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, I think most of people already see Doggo here. That's my dearest companion. Well, to echo Dr. Baer, belongings today. I came from China, landed in United States 2017, March 12th. Sorry, so be quiet. This is my first stop, and I feel this is my home. During the whole pandemic, I got 2 master's degrees. I work every day. And right now I'm doing my PhD mathematical computing. Yes, hard work may never end, but why? Why we do this? So it's tough, you know? As women, we do a lot of home chores at home. We need to take care of baby. And also, we want to compete with men to some extent. So then I'm thinking what I can do. What I can do to make a home chore more easier. Well, men want to develop a weapon to a dog. So why I can develop a dog to be a kid's companion, to recognize bugs or to play balls. So that's why the motivation, I want to build some friendly, nice companion. And you can ask, you can pull out the resources and keep moving. Think about the ChatGPT, everyone use it. Grok, everyone has their preferred language style tone, right? But the thing is, you want to ask something ongoing. How? So this companion, we take it, so with the camera, with the sensor, with thermal, you be able to train your companion to ongoing process information, give you better advice. So that's what I'm here. I want to build classes and apply fundamental function to make trajectory work better. So also, yeah. Belongings, right? We talk about belongings. I work on the IT, and without our multi-immersive technologies, without X-ray lab, I cannot stand in here. So thank you, and all my team members here, my supervisor, James Trotter, and my co-worker, Frank, Dimitri, so they all support here as family. Thank you. So during the pandemic, we trying to see how we be able to build a simulation and create a safe space for faculty, for students to play with their concepts. So this is, we started from a faculty-led innovation development. We use Unreal Engine, build a molecule simulation. With a controller headset, you'll be able to pull out, go to the detail, see the molecule structures. And also we have a sound project from a musical department, and we're trying to simulate the sound in case you are blind, or in case we want to, so this is our lab under basement. So it's really like a maze. So how we be able to guide people through some, play some games with the sound. So, oh, yeah, I know. And then, right now, we talk about motions. So everything about movement. So how we be able to better understanding movement and make the movement associate with object. And we have a motion capture, and also I'm the lead of motion capture studio. So we collaborate with the kinesiology department, trying to better analyze gait data. And also, right now we relocate in all the performing arts. That's PA 138. So I assistant teaching with Professor Papaye, and we're trying to using motion capture, do a virtual character, and build a immersive black box with 9 projectors and 23 speakers, spatial speaker. So inside, without headsets, you'll be able to totally immersive to an environment and interact with virtual character, and possibly in the future, we have a full human robots you'll be able to play with. Okay, let me give you a quick show what is, so this is the old studio on their basement. So what we're doing is from here, please. Yeah, I guess the Wi-Fi. Okay. So that's so each body has 42 trajectories. That's a marker, and we use we have 19 cameras mounted on the top. We're tracking the movement, and also it's not just the human beings movement, joints movement. Also, we can tracking object movement. So rigid, we call it rigid body. So we put a sword on the. Here you can see the sword movement, can see the students' movement, and after we tracking the data, we can retargeting those motion spatial data to virtual character. Okay, I think I need to give what is virtual character. In this product, I created an AI-driven character of Professor Christy Pavia as your virtual tour guide.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Welcome to the Virtual Performing Arts Center. I am Christy Papaye, your host. Would you like to take a tour with me?
But you can do more than just a guide you around here.
Great. I'm thrilled to have you join me. As we explore, you'll come across a quiz station. It's a fun way to test your knowledge about theater arts, and there are some exciting rewards for completing it.
I use a Llama 370B model to give this virtual Christy the ability to answer not only general questions, but also specific ones related to her syllabus, which I've uploaded to the knowledge bank. You can answer her detailed questions about her courses while exploring the Performing Arts Center here. To make the experience even more immersive, we've added motion capture. This means when you interact with Christy, her movements will respond in real time with characteristics. Okay, so with the motion capture data, we'll be able to retargeting those trajectory motion to a virtual character. And next up, we're gonna train our robot using motion capture in-house data and training the, you name it, home tour robot or a warehouse robot. So we want to make it a fast run. Okay, so what we want to build is called an ecosystem. So we have a motion capture quality system that's tracking humans' movement, tracking object movement. And also we have a simulation. So we use Unreal Engine. And right now we ship for robotic training, we use Isaac Sim from NVIDIA. And then we have a full pipeline about robot training. So today you see the dog over here. It's called the quadruped. So there's 4 legs. And also we can change the sensor on the foot to be wheels. So you can attach sensors to the bot. On the back there has our own NVIDIA GPU. So also we have a full body imitation learning. So all things we want to be accurate, be quick. So this is the leading arms. We hold the leading arms, we recording data, we can immediately retarget it to the action arms. And with the slam, like your cleaning robot, mapping at home, then they be able to recognize long sequence home chore tasks. So our goal is trying to improve the learning curve. And and once we have this full body movement robot, and also in the upcoming we have 4 humanoid robot. So we're trying to build a full pipeline of robot training on campus. So you're gonna, if you are not computer science or cybersecurity students, how are you gonna join us? So, right, we need experts. We need to define task first. So what is a possible task? Do the real life service, and how we define a long sequence task For example, if you're really good at play games, play controllers, you'll be able to control the arms better than me, definitely. So with the correct, accurate operation of arms, we'll be able to collect accurate data. So experts lead everything for robot development. We need live experts. If you're one at home, we need excellent, so expert home advisor. So, and the future job, stay at home, define your task, join us, train a robot at home. Okay, so for this things, and in the theater, we build a black box. Well, I want to give some like quick visualized how we be able to have a real person control virtual world. So you see the markers on the body, and then when you with the trajectory tracking, we be able to control the virtual objects. Yeah, and so then with the trajectory movement, also we can control sound. So sound move be able to live streaming through the Qualysis, and we'll be able to use your arms to control sound, control light. So in the future, that's intelligent, how we control our intelligent room, home, all possible. And also in the show, we can have one person control the whole arm. So yeah, this is all about retargeting, all about connection. So today we are here and we're trying to set up a connection where we're MIT located in CSUSB. And if you're interested, welcome to our department, welcome to our lab. And also our black box located PA 138. Thank you.
Good evening. Can I invite the panelists up, please? Good evening again. My name is Michelle Skilgen. I serve as the Senior Director of Corporate and Foundation Relations for CSUSB Advancement. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. It's nice to look out an amazing audience tonight. Before this role, I launched and ran our Inland Empire and Coachella Valley Women's Business Center. And I'm a two-time alum of CSUSB with a BA in Information Management and an MBA in Entrepreneurship. And I've been your sidekick for about 8 years now, I think, for this. So thank you for bringing me along. I'd like to invite our panelists that have not had a chance to introduce themselves, Dora and Ginger, thank you, to introduce themselves. Dora, please, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Dora Mejia. I am the current Cal State San Bernardino Emergency Manager. I've been doing emergency management for about 22 years now. I started in local government, and basically what I do is I manage emergencies, whether they be natural or man-made. And I started in public health. I did EMS. I did hospital surge planning. I did Homeland Security mobile field care hospital planning. And I ended, before coming to Cal State, I did behavioral health and crisis management for emergencies. So you'll probably be wondering why a field responder is on this panel, and we'll discuss a little bit about how emergency management uses some of these tools in cybersecurity and artificial intelligence.
Phone first. Good evening. Good evening. I'm Ginger Ontiveros. I'm the president and CEO of Tomorrow's Talent. We are an intermediary organization that works with schools and colleges to help their students get connected with employers. So we do a lot in the space between school and work. We work with a lot of employers to understand how they're adopting AI and how that's impacting the entry-level workforce. So it's wonderful to be here with you. I am a graduate of Cal State San Bernardino. Yes, go Yotes, right? Also have, so I have a bachelor's degree in communications. I think one of the first years it was a program here. Also, I have a master's degree in organizational leadership and just really enjoy my role here at Tomorrow's Talent. So thank you so much for having me here tonight.
Well, now that our panel has been introduced properly, we are going to just go for the Q&A section. So Michelle and myself will start with the Q&A. And then we have two wonderful students. I see Gideon on one side and somebody else on what? Yes, oh, and perfect on the other side, and as well as Celestine for the online questions. So we are starting with the questions, then we'll take questions from the audience and online. So since I'm talking right now, I'm going to be the first one, and I have two questions for Paniz Herrera. So Paniz, my first question for you is, how can students stand out in a competitive job market beyond GPA, grades? What do you suggest?
Absolutely. This is the advice that I would give to my daughters if they were college students. And I would say learn beyond the paper. If it means getting a part-time job in that field, please do so. Even if it means it's an entry position in the meantime, maybe it's even lower than entry, whatever it may be, get your foot into the industry that you want to get into so that you have a glimpse of what your life will look like. Another aspect is, I spoke about this in my presentation, but I think upskilling is so important. A degree will get you information, but if you want industry-specific information, you have to go and get it yourself. Whether it means certifications in your field, whether it means getting individuals involved in your network so that you can pick their brains, whatever it may look like, do so. It will help you to stand out in any field that you go into. And lastly, don't just make it about the piece of paper. Even as a PhD, I've learned that I know nothing. It's not about the education, it's about who you meet in your education, the people that you surround yourself with to make you reach further, because the people around us do make us better. And within that, you can at the end, or I think now they do it in your third year, where you can actually get an internship in your third year in that summer, and then in your fourth year, get another summer internship. But get your foot in the door as many times as you can, and build your network early on so that by the time you graduate, you have those strings to pull.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this excellent answer. Very good. I have a second question for you. Here's the question. Looking back, what has mattered more in your career? Your technical skills, your people skills, or your resilience?
Ooh, that's fire. Let me tell you a story so that you can see the transparency behind my story. So when I had my bachelor's, I was out of the job market for 4 years when we had our child. When we had our first set of children, it was supposed to be, we lost our twin at the very end. I was not in an emotional place to be back at work, and I took some time off, and my husband supported me in that time. We were living off of one income. Then COVID happened, and we were pregnant with another at that time. And it was getting closer to when we were going to get birth. he got demoted once because they were doing cutbacks at his job. And then a few months later, after we gave birth, they let him go. So we were down to barely any income. We had side jobs, obviously, that we were relying on. But as a mother of two now, and being out of the job market for the last 5 years, I was very uncomfortable of going back and only earning about 40,000. So what I did was I looked at the market and I was like, the best thing for me to do is upskill. So I went back for my MBA, and because I had a little bit of technological background with working at Apple, just in the front end sales, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go into the tech field. I'm gonna do cybersecurity. I knew nothing about the cybersecurity industry. However, I was willing to learn. And that's where the lifelong learning and adjustment happens, is you have to take on things. Maybe you're uncomfortable, but it will be beneficial for you in the end. I got my MBA with a focus in cybersecurity. And then I went into the Women in Cybersecurity conference, and that's where I got my job. My job started because of that conference. So again, going back to the first question, you have to put yourself in places where you're able to network and you're able to get jobs that way. And that's where my journey started. I took an internship right before I worked at Esri as an intern. And in the beginning, I was literally unplugging stuff from desks, then plugging things back on. I would come home with allergies because of all the dust, but humble beginnings, right? Like I was a mom. I had been uncomfortable already. I needed to do more for my future. And that's what I did. So from an internship to my job, and now again, upskilling with my PhD, because I know that education is worth it. And I know that I'm worth it. And I know that there's two young girls that are looking at me for inspiration. And hopefully we'll see my resilience. So it's a packed question, but all of that matters. And I don't think there's one that I would say attributes higher than another. As I spoke about, like soft skills and technical skills having to go hand in hand. The thing that will push you is going to be resilience. So all of that is needed, and that's what builds character, and that's who we become.
Thank you.
Dora, you touched on this a little bit, but what role is AI currently playing in emergency management, and how is it shaping the way we prepare for and respond to disasters?
So I will start. My humble beginning in emergency management started after volunteering for Hurricane Katrina many, many years ago. I'm aging myself. Hurricane Katrina kind of really taught us where we had a lot of gaps in what emergency response and disaster response was. Fast forward many decades later, we're seeing that artificial intelligence and cybersecurity play a huge role in the way that field responders and first responders basically respond to any disaster, whether it's by robotics or whether it's assisting us in seeing what hazards and mitigating hazards out in the field look like. They have the ability to go into areas where some of our first responders cannot go into. They could see more of a bigger spatial place of where we have to respond to, or where we have to do some mitigating for. It could be a fire or an earthquake. They have the ability to do things that some of our human colleagues can't do. So in the past 5 years, I feel like artificial intelligence has played a huge role in the way that we plan. It's assisted me not only in, I kind of see myself as an orchestra conductor for emergencies. It's my role to make sure that everyone that's responding to a disaster out in the field is playing the correct tune, is all in sync. So AI has played a huge role in the way that I plan and make sure that my first responders are always safe and capable of responding to those disasters and emergencies.
Thank you. So looking ahead, what AI innovations are most likely to fundamentally change emergency response within the next decade? And how should policymakers, responders, and communities prepare for these shifts?
Really, that's one area that's kind of evolving right now. I work with the different counties and different emergency plans. And one of the counties that I work with is LA County, and they're preparing for the Olympics in 2028. And we're seeing that the concept of emergency planning for different areas is changing based off what we're learning with AI, whether it be finding drones, finding robotics, anything that kind of takes us to a different place where humans can't really go. It gives us a different aspect of what we can plan for. We see safety just in general for the public on a different spectrum because they're capable of doing things that we may not be able to do out in the field. So it's an assistance, and being able to kind of see bam, bam, right? Do some of the things that we're not capable of doing. And I activated him. I'm so sorry. But he's capable of doing things that we may not be able to do. He's capable of seeing things that we're not able to see. And I'm sorry for that. I'm so intrigued with him because when I kind of saw what he can do, it really just ignited kind of the ideas that I would like to see emergency management use moving forward. So I do see a lot of great potential and great things in learning because my work is very field-based. It has very little to do with actually working with AI and cybersecurity, but we have a lot of those components in our emergency response centers. So it plays a huge role in the way that public safety is seen when you go to concerts, when you go to events, anything that you go to. Just know that there's a huge group on the back end, making sure that you guys are safe and are having fun in whatever location you're in.
I'm going to say thank you, and Bam Bam puts a whole new spin on technical difficulties.
Now, Ginger, I also have two questions for you. Question number one, studies show men are adopting AI tools faster than women. In your opinion, what risk does that create for women's career? And what can women do to close that gap?
So studies are showing that men are adopting AI tools at about 10 to 20% faster than women. This is also influenced by the higher number of men that are in technical skills building these tools, right? So I don't think that there are men in back rooms, smoking cigars saying, ooh, how do we keep women out of the workforce? Let's design a tool that does that. I don't think that's happening, but I do think that there is a possibility and a reality of unintentional bias being built into these tools, right? And so what we're finding then is that even in the job search process, AI is in the back end of a lot of search tools. So it may present different opportunities to women than it does to men, which can then impact their entry into the workforce. When it's evaluating applications, because when we all know when we submit an application online, there are screening tools that are determining who gets seen and who doesn't. It can absolutely impact that as well. When we're talking about how people get promoted and evaluation tools, to the extent that supervisors are now leaning into AI to help analyze data, it can introduce other kinds of biases that affect our advancement in the workplace. So I think there are a couple of things that women need to be thinking about, and Paniz recommended one of them, which is get in the rooms where these things are being built, right? I think also these language models are learning from what we're using it for. So I recommend you lean into using it. And I can tell you, I use AI every day, but I don't just accept what it tells me. I argue with AI. Like, get in there and fight with it. You know, ask it to rethink what it's telling you if it just seems off a little bit. Don't trust just what it spits out. Use critical thinking to challenge AI and make sure that the women's viewpoint gets into those learning language models.
Thank you. I have one more question for you, Ginger. Some people believe that AI is not eliminating jobs. It is just changing them and creating entirely new roles that offset what currently exists. Is this what you're seeing in your job, in your work with employer?
Yes and no. So yes, it is absolutely creating new jobs and new opportunities. And I absolutely lean into the advice that says that you need to learn how to use AI on the job so that you can be competitive in today's workforce. The jobs are changing, all of them, right? So you absolutely need to have that experience. But I would say that it is very much impacting entry-level jobs. You know, even in cybersecurity, entry-level jobs are being impacted by the fact that AI can do them faster and cheaper than an employer hiring somebody for an entry-level position. What we're finding is that there are more and more jobs that are coming out saying entry level requires 2 and 3 years of experience. So the antidote to that is get experience. Get it any way you can and get it as adjacent or close to the career field you want to go into as possible. You know, so what we're looking at is definitely internships, definitely apprenticeships, but don't forget volunteering. Nonprofits, for example, accept volunteers all day long, and they have such a variety of opportunities for people to practice what they're learning and apply it in ways that make a difference on resumes that show experience. So definitely get experience any way you can.
Excellent advice.
Your turn. Yutong. So I hope I didn't offend Bam Bam. So
He's
I
good.
didn't think about that. But
He's
I
lazy
know.
right now.
What's that?
He's lazy and
Oh.
lay down.
Okay. So we have many people here, myself included. We're not in tech fields. How can community members and students from diverse backgrounds still engage with and benefit from embedded AI in robotics?
I think the future we have to, as a human, is not about you remember the laws. It's how you live as a human and observe and be a true man, true human. I mean, true woman, whatever. So it's because we are trying to divide a tool to improve a human being's life. So this logic is true. Then, so the developer need a diverse background. So we need students better understanding human interface and understanding talking. So we'll be able to train the specific friendly talk. And also because fundamentally it's math and physics. So that's why I dive into math right now. So I really encourage young kids. So that's why I want to build a series of mathematical course based on robotics, because you remember so many functions that's really easy to forget. You just question about your intelligence level. You know, the more you learn, the more you forget. So how we be able to do some tangible things to make it seeable and doable, testable. So that's why I'm thinking. So and any students. So another thing I want to emphasize. I learned English in China. So I used to be a journalist. And so once I dive into computer science, I figure out if you can speak English, you can program. And if you learn adding then you can write loop. So the thing is, right now with the AI and the large language model, they can debugging. So any kind of coding editor, like a Visual Studio Code, you can embed it cloud, and you can embed it the different large language model coding debugging. So they can ask in-depth question. I cannot graduate from computer science if OpenAI didn't launch. So I just learn it, then ask in-depth question, keep asking question. And the coding is not a barrier to do develop in the future. So everyone, I think in the English world, they can speak English, they can ask the right question. If you can ask the right question, you can write the proper prompts. If you can write the proper prompts, then you can debugging using the coding editor to program, build your own machine, build your ongoing sensor, and to processing information. So I don't think that's a barrier based on what you learn.
Thank you. Thank you. One more question. With robotics entering more personal spaces, education, caregiving, even companionship, how should we address ethical questions such as privacy, bias, and safety?
So from a mathematical perspective, that's all about decoding and encoding. So I believe, if we want to protect ourselves, we definitely can build a better decoding system. And we have a third part that's probably can give more job opportunity to people from their perspective to protect our privacy.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions from the audience?
Don't
And or online, yes.
So the question is, which 2 actions or steps would you recommend I take to better familiarize myself with AI? I guess this question is for Paniz.
I would want to know like what's their background, because I want it to be personalized. It varies. If you have no technological background, I would get familiarized with like GPT prompts, like taking a prompting course to understand how to write clearly, how to ask the right questions. That's going to be vital in any field. If you have a more technological background, if you can write code, read code, then look into AI and machine learning. Neural networks, if you have like a psychology background, is really interesting. So it varies a little bit depending on the background that you have. But my broad statement would be to take a prompting course, to play around with these chatbots, learn from them, and then also understand what is leading in industry. So if you see new AI machinery come out, I want you to be the first one that questions its ethics and safety. Be on the backbone of that. That doesn't necessarily require a technical background, probably just like policy understanding. But those would be the different aspects. And I try to be broad and specific in some areas. So those are my suggestions.
Thank you.
That's me.
So for like context, I understand that since AI came out, a lot of people use it to like build resumes or like build like cover letters and things like that. So my question for all of you is AI affecting the way employers hire people?
Absolutely. You can take this one.
Yes, it absolutely is affecting the way that they hire people. So I think I mentioned that when you're applying, it's definitely being integrated into screening processes. So how you build your resume in alignment with the actual job that's being offered is critical. So gone are the days where you can have a standard resume that goes out to everybody. You really need to be customizing your application for each individual opportunity, and asking AI to help you build an application that will get through its own screening systems is helpful. Going back to the prompt engineering, tell it you want it to act like a screening tool and make sure that you can get through the screening process, like leverage it against itself. So definitely it's impacting that process as well. I guess that's maybe some advice I might.
We have another question.
Sorry, just one thing.
Oh,
The
okay.
only thing that I would add to that is I've never gotten a job by submitting it online. So networking is key. I'm going to say this, but screw the AI system, the backbone. You don't know what the heck they have programmed, right? There's a bias on women's names. So, that can hinder you. However, get in rooms and industries that have those particular rooms and get to know the people, talk.
100%.
And if you want to get better, like, I don't know if you guys know, but GPT has a talking to response. So we can pull it up, but I'll show you real quick. I'm going to go to a new chat GPT and I'm going to press, there's a button down here that has like the audio. Hey, chat GPT, can you tell me what are the top 5 industries for me to look into when it comes to me having an MBA, a PhD?
Absolutely. With your MBA and your PhD in the works, there are definitely some interesting avenues to explore. For instance, you might want to look into roles that combine strategic leadership with deep tech expertise, like becoming a chief information security officer or a director of cybersecurity strategy. You could also think about consulting.
So as you can see, it talks back. So if I wanted to go back and forth on interview questions, you have it in the palm of your hands. Hey, ChatGPT, let's go through a few questions. Critique me, make me better. How are my responses coming off? And is there a better way to respond to an interviewer? You have everything in the palm of your hands. It can better you. Absolutely.
Okay.
And that apps, I use it even in French because we're all foreigner. I'm a native French speaker. So I ask ChatGPT questions in French and or in English. It's exactly the same way. So use the tools you have. It's so powerful. I think we have one question.
Yeah, Chuck Munyayasa is my name. I'm a business intelligence and data analytics student here. I want to ask a simple question that I've not heard anybody talk about this evening. What is the actual home of AI and where does it live? Today, in the morning, I was following Amazon Web Services. They were having a seminar like what you're doing from 9 till 12:45. Everybody there was talking AI. AI is on Amazon Web Services and Amazon Web Service. You are talking AI. Yeah. Does it live here? Does it live on Amazon Web Services? Where does it live? I want to visit AI and I want you to tell me where it is.
Yeah, it's the palm of your hands. I want you to understand that AI is used because it's artificial intelligence packed. So this is intelligence that's packed into a machine, these data centers, and these data centers are what respond to you. So when you get hallucinations, it's because it's relying on the data that it received, thinking, so there's intelligence within it, and then giving you a response back. There's no like section or premise in which it lives. It's data packed entity that is able to respond to you and give you information, kind of similar to a Google search, right? Where does that information come from? Information is widely available. It's just the usage that's programmed so that the user can, going back to the interface, the user can simplify its transaction and its interaction with this entity and then come back with information.
Very
I
good.
hope I answered your question.
Hi. This question is actually for a future perspective of what market will be. Given the fact that every company right now seems to be creating AIs for their own platforms, their own tools, do you suppose like Netflix and all these others that were streaming services, that it will eventually consolidate and become more streamlined where every company is now working under one, maybe two or three. I mean, we've got Alexa, we've got Gemini, we've got Copilot, we've got Siri, we have Cortana. At some point, do you see that all of these are going to start to become, you're going to have the top performers taking over the industry? And then I do have one other thing. I am a mother of 6 boys in my house, 8 if you count the dogs and the husband. And a working mother and going to school. So if you want to test the robots at my house, you are welcome to.
Yeah, one day. Actually, a lot of home toy robot already launched with a base of a sleigh, like your cleaning robot, with a pole and with the arms up and down, with the in-depth camera. They can fundamentally do some laundry and cleaning up, organize object organization. It's doable. Yeah, we're gonna build a house, you know, the maybe a mimic house here or chicken, you know, kitchen, don't know my English. Then we'll be able to train and we'll be able to hire more home mommy help us to define the tasks.
If the world.
James, we need a sign up sheet.
Going back to your first question, though, I think what makes this field so interesting is that it's all so different. I think having one source would complicate things, and the beauty of different entities is different information, and those large language models are all trained differently. So the information that you might get from ChatGPT may vary slightly from Gemini. And you know, other servers that you use is just the way that it's made and is. And going back to your point about Netflix, Netflix does use AI. Your selections are picked because the server learns off of your data history. And it is the way that it is. Any data that you give to the internet comes to you at a cost. You think it's free to ask ChatGPT questions, but you're helping the training. So there's a cost to every decision that we make on this World Wide Web. And there are companies, whether you know it or not, that are using AI. You know, this is like 10 years ago, it was using it, and it still is, but credit services use AI to make decisions for you. Housing decisions are made based off AI implementation and the data that it's gathered on individuals and who you are. It's ever going, but I hope, you know, going back to my presentation, that women sit at those tables to make it ethical, because, you know, data privacy is something that we value in cybersecurity, and it will be a vital aspect of our future, especially with how much data is taken in and stored. This is our information. One thing that my husband and I don't do is we don't put our kids, or I try to ask family members, please don't upload our kids into ChatGPT and ask it to give a cartoon figurine. That's my face, my children's faces that it's learning from. So I hope that, you know, from this conversation, you go forward and understand that most companies are using AI, whether you like it or not, and that data is key and your privacy is important.
Gideon, we have one question.
Hi, what resources do you suggest for folks to do their own due diligence about the different resources for AI, the Geminis, the Chat GPTs, et cetera?
Have you used it already?
Well, I just do the webinar and everything, I understand it, so.
Yeah.
It's not really for me, it's much for the audience.
Yeah, so that would be my first thing, is use it. Get your hands in it. That's the best way that I learn, is understanding the responses, understanding what, how did that answer get, you know, from that question to that answer? Like, how does it work? Can I make my question better so it understands me better? If I give it more information, is it more reliable? If I ask it to give me sources, are these sources actually correct? Let me chase them down, right? Let me trust but verify. So those are all things that you should do if you can get your hands on it. When it comes to learning on the side, there are so many programs. Prompt engineering is one of the basic ones that I recommend to everybody, because if you can't, so AI has a language. Yes, we speak English, but knowing how to speak to artificial intelligence is also a language that we must learn. So prompt engineering is going to teach you how to communicate with such machines. And then, you can go further from there based on interest. There's YouTube videos that you can learn from. Just be a lifelong learner and get your hands in it first.
I want to share some experience of how I learn. So ask as many questions as possible first. And then there's a couple websites free called Deep Learning AI from MIT computer science, and that's AI father, Andrew Ng. And another thing I want to emphasize. So AI right now, so we call artificial intelligence, it will be a utility bill as electricity in the future. So everyone gonna use it. And what the difference is how you parallel your model. So we call it AI basically is model, different models. And then, so right now I have another concept about agentic AI. Basically a lot of agent. You need to build your own agent. So they have a lot of API you can call, and you can sequence together. So basically is you ask a quite big question. How I be able to build a company replace X space? Then you can you can use a large language model, give you a solution, and then generate the code and use another large language model to verify your code and run it, and set up a reflection system, use a different large language model to be able to test it and compete. So that's, you just call, I call API, it basically give you a key. You'll be able to use the architecture and just the testing. Keep testing. There are tons of free courses online. And ask YouTube, and sort. Definitely everyone have to learn it, have to use it.
And don't be afraid.
Be brave.
Yeah, I had no coding experience, and my dissertation is heavily product made. I'm not gonna pay anybody. I'm a mama. We don't got money like that. So I was like, I'm gonna learn how to build this myself. So with the help of ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot a little bit, I've built out my app myself with very minimal. I've only taken one course in computing, Python particularly, but don't be afraid. Just get your hands dirty a little bit and you'll get it. You're more capable than you think.
We have a question online.
Question for you, Yutong. How do we manage the environmental impacts of the production of AI and robots, or should we ignore it?
Can I repeat the question?
Yes, could you please repeat the question?
How do we manage the environmental impacts of the production of AI and robots, or should we ignore it?
How you manage?
The environmental impacts of the production of AI and robots.
If I understand the question correctly, I think just use your time to learn. Manage, so the more you learn, that's the only way you manage. Otherwise, you can't. So learn, so first of all, robotics, you have to understand ROS system, and the native control system, I recommend you learn Linux. And for the unit, because different robot has a different operating system. So, okay.
So producing robots like Bam, does it have any environmental impact?
Yes, we need, I use Linux, Ubuntu 2024, and also we use AzaxSim, So you need to understand fundamental Vim function comment, and C++ is the programming low-level movement. So the unit tree, so different company will give you different SDK. That's a software development kit, a package of files. And then, so for they name it low-level movement. They give you how you jump, stand up, wave hand. Those are using C++. That's a low-level machine control language. I actually learned C++ since 2022. So I just want to encourage everyone. I think that's if I think in the future, everyone have to understand, at least you can read through a machine language. If you're scared about a robot, if you're scared about artificial language, learn it. That's the only way. And if you don't understand, it's a copy paste to Copilot or to ChatGPT, they can explain every note, every line. So learn programming.
I'll piggyback on that question. One, keep asking those questions. Two, there was an article that came out, and it said that pleases and thank yous to ChatGPT were costing multi-liters of water usage, because these data centers are required to use water to cool them down because the information capacity, as you can, just imagine your computer, your computer will get warm on your lap. So these data centers are processing information and giving you information back, and that will heat up the control system in itself. So it uses water to be able to mitigate that. Another is land usage. These data centers take up large masses of land, sometimes having effects on the surrounding neighborhood where they can't, get water, where their water will drip and they have to collect it to use it for cooking and, such things. So continue asking those questions. What are we doing? And is technology there to make us better when it causes us environmental detriment? One aspect that we question in cybersecurity is if we're creating something that's smarter than us, at which point will this machine realize that it needs to wipe us out because we're a detriment to ourselves, right? If it is smarter than us, then it can create viruses that will wipe us out. These are all questions that we have to keep coming to the table and asking individuals, because the rich will only get richer if we don't ask these particular questions. So keep asking those questions.
Hi, this question is, it's a AI related question, of course, but, so I'm Nigerian, and, the part of Nigeria I'm from, I'm pretty sure my language is, I don't find my language anywhere. They only list like the top 3. So when I first started using the ChatGPT back in maybe around the pandemic, I know for sure my language wasn't on there because I tried to speak it to it. Now, it's now on there. Are we not afraid that AI will harm us one day? And what can we do to mitigate that one day?
Keep asking those questions. Jeffrey Hinton, who is the godfather of AI, who has made millions off of AI, his machine or his AI was being able to detect faces. And, that was what he sold to Google. And he worked for Google numerous years, made millions. He got out of Google, won a Nobel Prize for his research in AI. And in his speech, all he says is, this is not headed in a good direction. We have created something that is smarter than us, that can think faster than us, and will be detrimental to us if we don't get ahead of it and, show up with safety in mind in every conversation. So yeah, keep asking those questions. I don't have that response to you because I teeter on the optimistic and fearful. I'm somewhere in between, maybe more so on the fearful aspect, but if we don't have these conversations, if you don't show up to these rooms where we can have these conversations, how will we impact change?
I want to say something here. If maybe I'm not directly answer your question, but I believe technology, or especially for natural language processing, can help reserve language. So you see, I from China, right? So for the fundamental of natural language processing is numerical vector value, the word relationship, based on the context. If the large language of natural language processing, large language model be able to functional, everyone embrace the augmented reality technologies, we don't need to learn foreign language. We can naturally speak our own language and communicate. So automatically, because that's as a library become more reliable, richer, I believe that's the best thing, because learning English is pain, especially interpret the jokes and the background, the nuance, your emotions. Oh my God, that's why I gave up. I want to learn math,
I'd like to add something here too. I want to really just piggyback on your ask the questions, right? Ask the questions of the right people, right? We need to be advocating with our legislators to make sure that they are putting into place safeguards in the law, and also being, to your point, in the rooms where we can influence that with our questions and the ethics that we're bringing to that. I think it's really critical that we're taking this very seriously. And I also would say, look up. I think too many people today, well, not exactly like that, are looking like this all the time. And one of the things that we have that AI doesn't necessarily have is relationships with each other. And so I really encourage us to, make sure that we're not so individually isolated into our own devices, that we're not recognizing the power of the collection of people that come together.
On EU's privacy, mind you, they're ahead of AI. They've created documentation to help prevent the fall. It says, there's an asterisk that says none of this applies to government. So there's things that we can do, and then there's conversations that we can have. But if our voices as a collective are not strong enough, we won't be able to penetrate the wall that's ahead of us.
Okay, so.
We have one question that.
Yes.
I
So
definitely
this
wanna
is
hear.
for Dora, because she hasn't spoken much, but I'm a nurse, and she used to work with me at Department of Behavioral Health, and I really feel like in the nursing field, we're really behind. You'll see the surgical technology going on and everything, but when it comes to nurses on the floor working emergency medicine, people out in the field, I don't feel like enough AI is being used where we could save lives. We could do different things. What do you think that we need to do as a people in the medical field to move it forward more? I think it's more like a distrust of the technology, scared like we're going to lose a life because we're in a situation where the life is at stake at all times. But I think there's a lot of times we could use technology and we're not. So what do you think we can do to move that forward?
I agree. That's being in more of a field-based career and not really being in AI and cybersecurity. We utilize it to help us and assist us when we're responding to disasters, but there is a huge mistrust on exactly how to utilize that great information whenever we're trying to do any disaster work or just public service in general. Our work is really hands-on. There's a human connection and a human emotion that goes into what we do and helping people in their time of need. That there is such a mistrust of using some of this technology to help somebody and save a life. I don't know if there's a really good way of moving it forward if we don't address the fact that there is a mistrust, especially in healthcare. Our first responders are opening up to utilizing some of this technology out in the field, but it doesn't replace that human connection. So they utilize it to, for example, see how far a hazard is going to hit, whether it's a fire and how far it may go, what areas we need to evacuate. We utilize it more for information than we do to save our another person. So I think addressing the mistrust of AI in general would probably help us move forward with it, but we're utilizing it just not to save a life. And some of the technology is really expensive. And healthcare and first response is not a field that has a lot of money to get some of this equipment. So I think addressing those two areas would really help kind of move AI forward, especially in healthcare and for nurses, because there's great technology out there. There's just a slight mistrust when it comes to having somebody's life in your hands. So
Thank you very much. I would like to take one more question on the right. I'd seen a hand. Yes.
Do you foresee the development of stronger laws or regulations to protect citizens' personal data from being collected and sold without their consent? I know I'm not the first person to get like that USPS text telling me to click the link. I know you kind of briefly mentioned that it's the last thing that cybersecurity would touch on, but I just wanted some input.
As these machines get smarter, the phishing attacks get better. It just keeps getting worse and worse, and we try to get ahead of it. And it's a hard place to be because we don't want to be reactive all the time. But sometimes the minds or humanity wants to do wrong with an item, right? We were the first to build an atomic bomb for ourselves. No mouse would have built its own mousetrap, right? So there is an aspect to this in which we are more so reactive, but great industry for you to get into. And it's just, there's so much within cybersecurity that you can get into because our personal information has to be protected. Our data has to be protected. But what happens when your authentication is biometrics, right? It scans your face. But now I have a deep fake, right? So that as technology evolves, cybersecurity has to evolve with it. And sometimes I see that there's the market isn't prepared for it. And this is why I come out and educate is we need more people to be on the good side. There are red teams and green teams, and there's different teams that you can be in within cybersecurity that go against each other. And if you want to be on the good side of this, it's the best entry time to get in. And if you're seeing those red flags, tell your friends, tell your elderly family members about those red flags. Don't click on anything, right? This is user information that we need to let out. And you can get on the forefront of this by joining the team. Little plug for cybersecurity.
Thank you very much. Now we would like to have a demonstration. If Bam Bam.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't hearing more voice here. Yeah. Hey, Bam Bam.
I'm here.
Show me love.
I love you.
Hey, Bam Bam.
I'm here.
Wiggle back.
Okay, so.
So this is really good platform. I can teach you kids.
As you wish.
Yeah, I can teach you kids the specific term and the execute the specific movement and the calculation. So how about the pi rotation about joints and how about the joints differential distance. So I think we learn a lot of terms, terminologies, but if you cannot use in the development, that means nothing. So this is really good. Again, it's if you're afraid of some tool, use it, right? And also, a lot of people see a lot of the YouTubers post they have a button on the top. If I use it, average person has to use it.
that we need to develop it like by ourselves and keep it at home. That's my logic. Yeah, it's learning math, maybe hard, but it's necessary. Everyone has to. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and so, yeah, you can have a automatically detected deterrent. It's all about the, you know, the distance calculator.
It's kind of scary when it approaches you, not gonna lie. Yeah.
You watch a lot of movies.
Terminator.
Work on the first 3 months, if you are laughing, enjoyable. After 2 years, 3 years, you hate it. You're gonna have all kinds of headache. And it's gonna collapse every, you know, and knock down every part's gonna cause headache. And you have to be careful about errors. And but the more you work on that, you be more confident. This is a tool. And you be able to learn more and be confident, be chill. So nothing gonna scary. Right? So that's human design. If you scary, scary math. How people do that with math. Yeah, that's
What else can Bam Bam do?
connected, so I have a Wi-Fi issue, if we connect the Wi-Fi, it can be able to take picture and recognize the object. And also this open app, so this is a Mejia CPU, you can connect it with the different sensor, the speaker, adapter, and you can call different language like that, and have the dog talk in your way you want to talk. You can basically you can define the aspects, like you want to recognize building A and B, you can call the either VIS API and recognize like your Google Map, you know, like car, so automatically car can recognize path. Yes, that's how you define a task, and then how you be able to write a Python script to be able to call and test and set up a reflection system. Like basically, you know, you reflect about your thoughts. That's how you reflect using large language model to code.
I'm curious, do you think it's gonna get to a point where we no longer need like the dogs that help with accessibility, that perhaps we can use these
Yeah.
for accessibility purposes?
So the thing is which level you want to automate. So with right now, I think if you are familiar with a lot of people using N8N is a multi-agent created user interface. So it's a couple of multi-agent platform you be able to that the goal is you do automation tasks. You parallel or sequence different large language model or vision a large language model be able to ask a better question and write a I want to go to that is you're gonna use Python to create a function of kind of tools. So for example, you want to check if that step is over 5 centimeters. So you check the distance and use large from model to generate code feedback and then achieve some level of automation. But think about human beings. If you keep your creative thoughts, those sequence always behind. So how do you randomize? So it's another question. This world is random. So I'm thinking so, and another logic is maybe so there are a lot of in a human history we build a lot of dangerous items, but we're still here, right? So there are tens of intelligent persons, smart guys. We don't want to destroy Earth. unless they found Mars, we be able to fly. Also, I don't think that's a threat, but I'm thinking, yeah. Okay, that's it.
Why did they run by? How much is the current risk on this particular tobacco?
Okay, so this is the programmable dog, so that's 13K. But we also have a 2,800 dog, be able to teach the kids coding. And so first of all, any kind of robot, you have to control. So there's a fundamental, there's those kind of natural control, you'll be able to do what tasks you want this dog to do. And we have a 4 legs, like quadruped dog. We have those like his leg, the wheels, and his arms. You have a fingers training. This basically is joints, spatial relationship. Yeah. So if you confidently do that, so you'll be able to program this using a ChatGPT or large language model.
Why did you call it Bamba?
This is department, the tools cost our headache, right? And all the tools.
Also the tools, when you invent tools, so usually it's really stupid. So basically, Ben means clumsy. Means really, like a stupid guy, naughty boy. So cause a lot of headache, You train, but how to see that you can see the progress with large language model with a vision, a computer vision process. That's about a pixel level, like transform. Yeah. Some people, you can give a signal and push some button, right? If you attach some weapon on the top, that definitely can eject any kind of weapon you want to eject. Yes, and I do think in human history we developed a lot of weapons, and I don't want to talk too much about that, scare people.
Our next war is not going to be a human war, it's going to be a technological war.
I could tell you that they are being used for good, though. Several fire departments across the country are using them to kind of check out the terrain, kind of check out what's going on during a disaster. So they're being used for good right now. They're just expensive, really expensive. So I can answer that on my end. When we open an emergency operations center during.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? All right, much better. So who can you, how can somebody, like say here in the audience, say we wanted to get our hands on this, or is this something just straight for governmental or schools or agencies of that type?
I can answer for my end. When we open an emergency operations center for whatever disaster we're kind of working on, we normally utilize subject matter experts when it comes to utilizing this equipment. So if there is a cyber attack, we would have a seat at the table for these people. If there's somebody that needs to use robotics, we would make sure that we would get a subject matter expert to utilize that equipment. Not only can they provide information to us, but we could also feed them information. So they always have a seat at our table. But we let those that are experts in utilizing that equipment do what they do best. But they can be used anywhere. Just to clarify, it could be local government, it could be higher education.
Yeah, I basically use it for teaching. I want to build a serious course for our students here, especially for computer science students, and quickly hands-on programming.
That's very good. I'm going to ask Prince to please join us.
You. Wow. I just want to say I am real life afraid of dogs. So every time Bam Bam moved, I absolutely moved also. Wow, this is incredible. My mind is blown, first of all. My name is Prince Ogidikwe, and I represent Senator Eloise Gomez Reyes. I just want to tell you all, thank you very much to our panelists. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for fabulously explaining, teaching us just about your contribution to our world and how women and young women can become professionals and get better at what they do. So I wanted to, as y'all spoke about there not being a lot of representation in that way of women in a lot of these spaces, it made me think about something that I learned during my time so far with the California State Legislature. So since 1850, there have been 4,551 people elected to the California State Legislature, which is Assembly and also Senate. 192 have been women. Right. Like I said, it's 4,551 since 1850, 192 women. One thing that I've learned from Senator Reyes is that every single woman who has been elected actually knows her number. Senator Reyes was number 157. We're in 2025. But nonetheless, I just wanted to put that out there, just as a little bit of, we have a lot more work to do, pretty much. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. We have come very far, but there's still a long way to go, so we'll keep going. But nonetheless, I wanted to present this on behalf of Senator Eloise Gomez Reyes, so on behalf of the California State Senate, and I have a couple of names, so I would just read what it says. I commend you for your valuable contribution to the 8th annual ShEconomy. Your engagement and contributions to this year's program has helped advance important conversation on the evolving role of women in the workforce, the impact of artificial intelligence on career opportunities, the empowerment of women in shaping the future of work. Your commitment to innovation, equity, and leadership serves as an inspiration to others and strengthens our shared vision of a more inclusive and forward-looking economy. So on behalf of the California State Senate, I hereby extend best wishes for a future filled with continued wealth, innovation, and success. Congratulations, all of you, and we're just so happy to be here. And I will, a huge shout out to Dr. Beer for putting this on. Incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Isn't that wonderful? We are recognized, at this level. Now, I have one surprise. We also received some certificate from Joe Baca. So this is, I'm very, very proud of what we have been able to accomplish. So here, I'm going to do exactly as Prince did and read what this is certificate of recognition is telling us. So on behalf of the Vice Chair and Supervisor Joe Baca Jr. of the 5th District in the County of San Bernardino, it gives me great pleasure to extend my deepest appreciation to you. And for you honorable organizations within this resourceful event. By connecting the women of our community to this valuable learning opportunity, you demonstrate the strong commitment you have made to uplift our residents. Your remarkable contribution truly leave a lasting positive impact on the careers of many. Thank you. So I want to join myself and thank you, all of you, the panelists, the expert, the audience, for taking the time to join us tonight. I hope that the 8th ShEconomy was inspiring. And if it was, we are going to do a 9th ShEconomy. So thank you so much.